Intuition and consequence. Intuitionism versus consequentialism. What is intuition? That is something which we have to understand in the first place. Intuition is something which naturally comes in our mind. Okay, it's just a bright spark in our mind. It so happens that we have not educated ourselves for that, but then our mind, our brain, our heart tells us something, and it's gut feeling அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா. So it's just that feeling that we have about a particular thing. We feel, okay, this is going to happen, this is not going to happen, I feel something is not right. Okay, that's intuition. So intuitionism is something which we are going to learn in this life. It refers to the philosophical belief that there are objective moral truths in life and that human beings can understand these intuitively. Moral truths in life. Moral truths. Moral na enna? That's the basis of it. We have certain morals. Okay? Uh, what intuitionism, this concept tells us is everybody, all right, every free thinking mind in this world can actually have this intuition in their mind, which naturally gives them the idea in our brain that okay, this is a moral truth in life, I cannot break it. And that intuition is actually natural. We don't have to learn from someone else or something else, we don't have to read. It is actually inborn with you. When you are born, this intuition is born with you. It's there in you, it's there in your mind, it's there in your heart. So you actually end up you're born with it, and you grow up with it. It's not that you learn from external factors. That is intuitionism. That's a concept. Okay, so the definition is objects of perception is intuitively known to be real. Okay, there are basic truths intuitively known. Right or wrong, or fundamental principles about what is right or wrong can be intuited. Okay, so a person, it can be you or me. What this intuitionism says, this theory says, is right or wrong, okay, is actually known to us already. Okay, we following or not is not the point here. We know. This concept is, this theory is telling us that we naturally know what is right and wrong in this world. Okay, it's just that even though we know it is wrong, we do those things. That is what we do. That's the theory of intuitionism. Do people agree to intuitionism? There are philosophers, many philosophers, who feel there is nothing called intuitionism there, because they feel there's nothing not natural. People don't know in their mind. It is not that they are born with it. They're saying it's not, intuitionism is not possible. That's what many philosophers are saying. But then there are many followers for intuitionism. There are many police records which says through intuitions they have followed a case and then they have cracked the case. So you it is up to you to believe intuitionism is real or not. But then when it comes to intuitionism, there are people who say it is possible, and there are many philosophers also who say it is highly impossible to have an intuition about what is morally right or morally wrong. The next one is consequentialism. Consequences, it's a normal term, right? You do something and there is a consequence. You lie, you face a consequence. You do something wrong, there is a consequence. You do something right, there is a consequence. Consequence is something which is a follow-up of whatever we do. Right? We do something today and there is a consequence tomorrow. That consequence depends on our actions today. What I do today brings in a consequence tomorrow, later on. Tomorrow in the sense, not exactly tomorrow. What I mean is, if we do something, okay, good thing or bad thing, and there is a follow up for it. Something happens because we did something today. Okay, if we do, I'm not saying, again, this consequentialism is not saying you do something good today, tomorrow you'll get something good. You do bad thing today, you'll get something bad. That's not what consequentialism is. Consequentialism is, you do something today, there is a consequence tomorrow. Good or bad is different. We are not talking about that right now. The value, and especially the moral value of an act, should be judged by the value of its consequence. So that's the definition. Consequentialism is an ethical theory that judges whether or not something is right by what its consequences are. If you have to explain consequentialism, whatever your action is, today you do something, right? Nobody is going to tell you, according to consequentialism, nobody is going to tell you you're doing something wrong or you're doing something right. Nobody is going to say that today. But when the consequences happen, okay, because of your actions today, something else happens tomorrow, yeah? And whatever happens tomorrow, based on that, your action today, whatever you did today, will be judged. That's consequentialism. And there are objections for consequentialism as well. The calculations that consequentialism demands are too complicated to make. That's the, philosophers who believe consequentialism is not correct, feel the calculations that involved, the consequences, this consequence is because of that, not because of this. If he or she could have altered this action a little bit, this consequence would not have happened. This is the calculation that this statement is, talking about. So these calculations are very difficult. It's not easy. It's complicated. So it's not everybody who will be in a position to make these calculations or assumptions. And in that case, consequentialism is not happening. It's not, organically happening. As in, many, but not all versions of consequentialism, they require one to compare the happiness or preferences of many different people. See, consequence differ from one person to another. Let's say 5 people do the same thing today. Not every of the 5 will have the same consequence later on. Yeah. So I do something today. You also do the same thing. Every one of you do the same thing today. Same action today. But then our consequences depend upon how people react to it. Okay. So my family, right? My friends, your family, your friends. How do they react? Every family and every individual will react differently for the actions that you end up doing. So hence, the consequence will not be the same for the same action, and hence people object to consequentialism.